G'day everyone and welcome back to Two Back into Boston. In today's video we are visiting the castles and town walls of King Edward I in Gwynedd. Now these castles were inscribed back in 1986 by UNESCO, and there's 4 castles located in Wales in the United Kingdom. We visited all 4 castles back in January 2026, and those castles being Beaumaris Castle, Conwy Castle and Town Walls, Caernarfon Castle and Town Walls, and Harlech Castle. What we did is we purchased an explorer's pass, and that allowed us as 2 adults over a 7-day period to explore those 4 locations and other historical places across Wales. A good tip is that it is also dog friendly to visit all of the 4 castles. However, the dog has to remain on the grounds of the castle and can't go in the inner walls or on top of the walls. Single castle tickets are available, but it's much more economical with an explorer's pass if you wish to visit all 4 castles, and I'd certainly suggest that you do, because they each hold their own individual beauty. Considering the number of castles across the greater United Kingdom, why have these 4 castles been inscribed by UNESCO? Well, the castles and fortified towns of Gwynedd are the finest examples of the late 13th century and early 14th century military architecture in Europe. Their construction began in 1283 and at times were hindered by the Welsh uprisings, in particular of Madoc ap Llewellyn in 1294. Construction continued until 1330 in Caernarfon and up to 1331 in Beaumaris. They have undergone minimal restoration and provide, in their pristine state, a veritable repertory of medieval architecture forms. Barbicans, drawbridge, fortified gates, redoubts, dungeons and towers and curtained walls. The royal castles bear unique testimony of construction in the Middle Ages. The accounts that have survived specifically the origin of the workmen who were brought in from all regions of England and describe the use of quarried stone on the site. They outline financing of the construction works and provide an understanding of the daily life of the workmen and population, and thus constitute one of the major references of early medieval history. Throughout his reign in 1272 to 1307, Edward I, King of England, worked to expand and defend his domain, implementing at the same time a military and settlement policy whose traces are still visible from the Pyrenees to Scotland, above all in Wales. It is a major illustration of the great construction policy of his reign. A series of superb castles which in some cases are combined with new towns surrounded by fortified walls are the examples of the medieval urban planning. From the year 1283 he undertook a castle building program of unprecedented scale. What he did was to station garrisons so as to quell any possible revolts, foster the settlement of castral towns by settlers, and finally illustrate in a more symbolic than strategic fashion English power. In 20 years, 10 fortresses were built, not to mention those were restored after being wrestled from the enemy. From among this series of construction located close together are Beaumaris Castle on the southeast coast of the island of Anglesey, the fortified structures of Caernarfon and Conwy castles on the northwest coast of Wales, and Harlech Castle north of Cardigan Bay. The typological, technical and stylistic coherence of these constructions are explained by the fact that they were all built by the same man, the King's chief architect in Wales. Beaumaris and Harlech began in 1283, are of virtually the same design, both being the work of the severed architect James de St. George, the greatest military engineer of his time. Beaumaris and Harlech represent a unique artistic achievement in that they combine the double-walled structure, which is characteristic of the late 13th century military architecture, with a highly concerted central plan in terms of the beauty and their proportions of masonry. These are the masterpieces of James de St. George, who in addition to being the King's chief architect, was governor of Harlech between 1290 and 1293. The Caernarfon and Conwy ensembles, with the royal castle, the ordinary residence of the governor and garrison, are the keystone of the military installation, which also comprises an adjacent fortified town, are very instructive regarding Edward I's policy in Wales. The castelled towns of a regular layout were inhabited by English settlers who were able to muster up a militia in times of revolt. It was hard to condense the visit to these 4 castles down to 10 minutes for this video. We hope you've enjoyed this very short video of our visit to these locations. And if you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe, and we hope to see you at our next UNESCO site very soon.